Good afternoon. It's Monday afternoon here in South Central PA, and here we are with another edition of Cause and Effect. I'm Cause, and I hope that the stories I tell and the things that I talk about will affect you in some positive way and maybe encourage you to get out in the community, do something good for others, or maybe just change a little something about yourself to make your life a little more positive. Positivity is what we are about right here. And I say we, I mean me. So the question of the day is this: have you ever done one small act of kindness for someone, and the fact that you did that for somebody else, it changed your life drastically? I have, and I'm going to tell you the story of how that happened. First, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so you are notified whenever I post a new video. I'll be posting about every third day, and I already have a list of topics that will cover me for the next month probably. And if you have something you'd like me to talk about, let me know. Put it in the comments and I'll talk about it. So here we go. What happened to change my life drastically? About 6 years ago, just around the beginning of that dreaded COVID disease, I was away on a trip with some friends, and I received a phone call from a lady that I did not know. She had heard that some folks that I ran with were doing good things for people that needed help in the beginning of COVID. And she asked if I could bring a group of people to her small Pennsylvania town and support a small pub that had been in that town for generations. They were really struggling because of COVID. And they needed some help. They needed some monetary help to pump them up a little bit. So one Sunday afternoon, a bunch of us got together. I don't know how many. I think we had about 30 people, 20 motorcycles, 30 people. And we rode to this small town. And I'm not going to say what town it was. It was here in PA, about an hour or so from me. And we went into this pub. We were greeted warmly. And we sat at the bar and had some drinks, and we ate all 8 meals, and we filled the pool room up for a few hours, and we were there pretty much all afternoon. But that's not what changed my life. That is not what changed my life. Here's what happened while we were there. The lady that invited us sat at a table with me and my wife and another couple while we were ordering and waiting for dinner. And she told us that the lady who was waiting on us, she was a young woman. She had the only pizza shop in town. And when COVID started, she cut out cardboard pizza slices, put them on her wall. And if you were hungry, because COVID had absolutely destroyed the manufacturing community in that town. So if you were hungry, you could come in, pull one of those cardboard slices down. She would give you a slice of pizza and a soft drink and not charge you. And she gave away hundreds and hundreds of slices of pizza at no cost. And then her landlord pulled some kind of shady deal on her, and she lost her pizza shop. Her and her husband had a blended family. They had 6 children, and they were struggling. He was a auto mechanic, so he was not bringing home the equivalent of 2 paychecks after she lost her pizza shop. And so she took a job working in this pub to try to make ends meet, and they were struggling mightily. When she told me this story, we waited for the waitress to leave the room after she took everybody's orders, and we closed the door. It was kind of sort of like a private room. We closed the door, and I stood up and I told everybody the same story that this nice lady had just told me. And before you knew it, and I couldn't tell you to this day who did it, somebody pulled off a hat and threw it on the table and said, "Let's help her out." And before you know it, money was flying out of people's pockets into that hat. And in a matter of just a few minutes, we collected $500 from that group of people. And when that lady came back to continue waiting on us, I had collected the money, we had counted it up, and everybody agreed that I should be the one to present her with the money. So I approached her in front of everybody, and I said to her, so-and-so told us your story about how you lost your pizza shop, how you were helping people when this happened, and that your family's struggling. And so we want to do a little something to help you. And I held up the money, $500 in 20s and 10s. And I said, there's $500 here, and we would like you to take this to help your family. And when I said that and handed her the money, she literally collapsed in my arms, weeping, not just crying, weeping. And it was like a burden was lifted off of her. And yeah, I know $500 wasn't going to carry them forever, but just to take the burden off of them, even for a short time, it was a little overwhelming, even for me, even for the people in the room that donated. There were a lot of tears, a lot of hugs, and we walked away from that place that day feeling pretty good. We helped the bar, we helped the waitresses and bartenders that were working, and we certainly helped this lady and her family. When we got home that night, I said to my wife, my life changed today. I'm not sure how it changed, but something changed for me today. I could feel it. I could feel that I felt different. I can't really explain it. And I thought about it and really had no idea what to do with it. But I just figured that whatever it was would present itself to me at some point. So let's fast forward about a month and a half to 2 months later. I had been riding my motorcycle with a group of folks, and it was a rather large group. I don't know how many folks, but quite a few. And we were a very political group of bikers, going to the State House here in PA, and making our protests known on the State House steps. And those protests were mainly about COVID and the shutdowns that went on, et cetera. I'm not going to get into all that, but that's what that was about. But once I handed that lady that money, I realized this. Politics and protesting wasn't for me. It has its place, and I certainly do not condemn or put down anybody who uses that forum to make things better. Bravo to them. But for me, that wasn't it. I decided that I wanted to do something charitable for people. So my wife and I were sitting here one Friday night. It was pretty late already. And we were just hanging out. TV was on. I was surfing on the internet. And all of a sudden, it just hit me. And I said to my wife, I have an idea. And she said, what's your idea? And I said, I think I'm going to start a charity. And she said, that sounds great and fun. What are we going to do? And I said, I have no idea, but I know it's going to involve motorcycles and helping people. And she said, that's great. Let's get some friends on board to help us out. So that's what we did. I immediately got a group of friends that I had been riding with. I contacted them all and said, here's my idea. It was very bare bones. And I said, would you like to be a part of it? And every single person said yes. So we started a charity. I'm not going to talk about the charity today. If you're interested in knowing more about the charity, what it's called, what we do, and how we do it, I'll make a video later. Just put it in the comments. Anybody that lives in this general area where I live knows about us. And we are very successful. We're 5.5 years old now, a little over 5.5 years old, and we've helped a lot of people. So my point is this. That was one tiny act of kindness that group of us perpetuated on that waitress in that pub on that Sunday afternoon. And at this point, almost 6 years later, I wonder if she even remembers it or ever thinks about it. And whether she does or not doesn't matter. The point is that it changed me. It changed me. I'd always been a guy that tried to help people. If I saw something going on with somebody or heard something or whatever, I tried to do things in my own community. But this was different. That small act, that lady collapsing in my arms and thanking us profusely literally changed my life. What did it cost me? Nothing. I threw a few dollars in the hat, probably $20 in the hat, and a few bucks on a motorcycle ride to another town an hour and a half or so away. It didn't cost me anything, but it changed my life. And by doing that, it has allowed me and my group of friends that I run with to help multitudes of other people that are going through something terrible in their lives. And I don't know that that would have ever happened if that small act of kindness had not been perpetrated on that lady. I've talked about this with some friends over the years, and some friends have said to me, stuff like, Mike, you were destined to do this. It would have happened some way or another. And is that true? Well, we'll never know, will we now? But here we are, almost 6 years later, and that small act of kindness definitely 100% was a big factor in changing my life, and for the better. And it hasn't always been easy. Doing charity is not always easy. There's really two other small acts of kindness along with this that changed my life. And I'll talk about all these things in another video. I'll make a video speaking strictly about those three things. I did mention on a video about a week or so back that taking martial arts at 58 or 59 years old, I took it for a few years. That changed my life in a lot of ways. But these three simple acts of kindness that were part of my life really changed me drastically. And that all started, I don't know, 15 years ago, I'm going to say, when I was about 50. So I'm going to talk about that more in the future. What I'd like now is for you to comment and tell me what small act of kindness changed your life. Was it an act of kindness that you did for somebody else? Was it a small act of kindness that somebody did for you? And tell us what that small act was. Tell us how it affected you and how it made you think about life differently. That's it. That's it for the day. I want you to think about this. I feel like this is a really important thing. I think a lot of people let those small acts of kindness kind of slip by, whether it's an opportunity to perform a small act of kindness or whether they've received a small act of kindness and maybe not used it as a jump-off point to better their own lives. I'm Kaz. This is Cause and Effect. I'm going to say it again. Please comment. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get a notice every time I make a new video. Have a great day. And don't forget, do something kind for somebody every single day. Let's make the world a better place.